guys.
Oh, what are those?
Tic Tacs.
Wait, you were sucking on what, guys? Welcome back to Podcast the Fucking Hero, man.
I don't like
were
you.
you sucking on?
I don't like you.
I'm having a blast. We got a super special episode for you today. We don't have any motherfucker as a guest because nobody likes us, and that's fucking fine because we're going to do a sound sploder. What's it called, Fritzy? When you do just a song and you talk about it. We're going to talk about a song. We're selling out, dude. HK said people would listen to the fucking podcast if we just talked about a song. I've had a couple beers, and I'm in a bathing suit.
Did I get you out of the pool for this?
No, but you got me covered in fucking sunscreen.
Sunscreen.
So we picked a song. I said to Fritzy, you picked a song.
Yeah.
You picked a song, and we'll talk about it. Fritzy, what song did you pick?
I picked Little Snakes.
Those little snakes.
And I picked it because it's my favorite song on that record.
Oh, yeah?
Also, I assume because you wrote it, it's about tiny penises.
Well, you would assume so.
I haven't listened to any. I've only listened to the instrumental version.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right.
Okay.
You're right. And that's it, man. That's the That's the whole fucking pod, dude. It's just about my little dick.
I nailed it. But no, the real reason I picked it is, this is gonna sound real sappy and like fucking. Ugh, I hate myself for saying this.
Do it.
This song really changed my life.
What? In what way?
So,
did it make you quit smoking?
No.
No, you kept on. You kept on smoking.
Smoking so much. So many vaporizers.
Nah, you
I
just...
get so many vaporizers in my little vaporizer box.
You pop a little lipper in here and there, eh?
Every once in a while. The way it changed my life is years ago when I was a younger man.
Yeah.
So in my 50s, I was like really into the idea of vacationing at Mount Rushmore.
Holy!
Like it seemed like that would be a fucking cool thing to do.
So I hit you right in between the eyes with this one.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
I'm a big road trip guy. I like to go on road trips.
You just got back from one.
Yeah, I drove 8.5 hours straight yesterday. It was great.
You came second in someone's cornhole.
Yeah, I did. It was...
Wait.
Oh, it was... Well, you know, I like to please. I always try and come second. So when I listened to this and read the lyrics for the first time, I was like, there are some things that I don't know, and I need to know. So I learned me some things.
Yeah, it's weird shit, right?
Yeah. So, so that's why I picked it, because it has become a bit of a little, like, you know how when people go on celebrity game shows, they have their little, like, charity thing that they always play for that's, like, real close to their heart?
Yeah, but it's, like, always just, like, explode Afghanistan.
Kids.
Well, yeah.
So
like we said
this
the
is
same
mine
thing.
now. This is my little thing.
Oh.
And it's, like... Whenever people are like, what charities do you support? I'm like, I am now going to learn you a thing now. And I get all excited about it.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it at the end. I'll tell some people about the charity that I support because of this song.
Oh, cool.
And then I'll post a link to it in the show notes and stuff. So this had a very profound impact on me and my, it just did. So we're going to talk about it because I think it's a great song.
I didn't know that. You and I have very few sincere moments between one another.
Right, yes.
And truthfully, that's not on your end. I have very few sincere moments with anyone I know.
I don't have sincere moments ever. People like to go like, are you serious right now? I'm like, I haven't been serious ever.
Yeah, I'm also
I don't know what that feels like.
I'm also very competitive. Are you drinking spicy water?
No, it's just regular.
Just soda water?
No, it's not even soda. It's not even bubbled. What? You're gonna bong some water?
Yep. Oh, that wasn't clean. Sorry, it was just sitting there. I don't know why I thought to do that.
Why did you have a beer bong just sitting there?
Sir, do you not have a beer bong sitting there?
I don't.
You should get one. This is
I
particularly
really should beer
cool
bong
one.
my water. That is the best beer bong I've ever seen, by the way.
Honestly, it's about the worst one I've ever used because
Does it work good?
It has like a little gaping chasm here, and it holds the beer. So you gotta
tip it around, and
you gotta bong it a couple times. I'll be bonging some beers throughout here.
Okay, cool. So this is good. This song has very serious lyrics.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be bonging some beers up in
Yep,
there.
this is just perfect. Out of a dead man's head.
Yeah, I only have 3 beers here at my foot.
I don't have any beers here.
Lucky.
Nobody let me.
Nobody would let you. You don't have to bong any then.
Also, thank you for doxing your wife to me.
When did I dox my wife? Oh, her phone number. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now, I texted her.
Yeah. Well,
I told her. I said, leave it to Rody to dox you.
I'm sure she'd be happy to have your phone number and you to have hers.
She has mine now.
So let's talk about little snakes.
Okay.
Other little snakes beyond Cage. Did you know that
Cage is a little snake?
You know what the title Little Snakes comes from?
I do.
Let me know.
I did research.
Holy shit. I listened to the song a couple times. I'm a little rusty on some of the knowledge.
It's where the word Sioux comes from, like to describe native peoples, which comes from basically a derogatory thing that the Ojibwa called members of the Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota tribes, which are sort of in that Sioux umbrella, but it basically means little snakes.
Yeah. Holy. You did that better justice than I would have had I explained it.
Yeah. So,
thank God for you.
The word Sioux is like an umbrella term, and it's like a European sort of translation of a longer word that was used by the Ojibwa to describe the people who are now called Sioux. But
if I
there's
had to
no like one
assume based on the pronunciation of the word and the use of an X in it, I'd say that it's French.
Yeah, probably.
Friggin' French, eh?
Well, French and Indian War. Did the French and the Ojibwa, were they on the same side? I don't know.
I don't know enough about that to talk about it. I do know that when you look at during like the Civil War, there were some things going on in Canada with the French and that part of fuck. I don't know. I don't even know. I was reading a book about it called Black Ice. It's about the like origins of hockey and the importance that the indigenous people and people of color played in the origins of hockey. But I cannot remember the specificities of it, so it's best that I just don't say fucking anything. So, because I'll fuck it up.
True.
Good book though. I wish I could remember.
So anyway, I think overview of the of the song is about more. It's not really about Ojibwa and Sioux or French and Indian War. Or any, it's about Mount Rushmore and the creation of Mount Rushmore in the context of a lot of other things that happened to the native peoples of that area.
Yeah, right? I mean, essentially, it is about how history can literally be molded. Like, just as those fucking faces are carved into the mountains, history can be carved into the minds of most people, right? Like, it's just like about a manipulation and essentially disinformation.
So the guy who actually carved Mount Rushmore is a guy named Gutzon Borglum. That's a hard name to say.
Yeah, fuck him and fuck that stupid name.
Right? He not the best dude.
No. I'm glad that you've come across this because it wasn't really mentioned within the song. I mostly mentioned the ill repute of the people who were carved into stone, not the man, the like architect behind it, but he fucking sucks. Sucked.
Yeah.
So please go on.
So he's also tied to another horrible monument in America, which is the Stone Mountain Monument in Georgia. He's the guy that carved Robert E. Lee's head into a mountain. And then...
he's also tied to a pretty cool organization, isn't he? He was a fucking Klan member, for Christ's sake.
That's correct.
Yeah. Like how, like that, is that not enough?
Right.
Like to just be like, oh yeah, no, these things fucking suck.
Well, I mean, and that's also a huge problem with our history in America is so many prominent Americans of the time were Klansmen.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like,
are you white and in power of some sort? You might have some ties to the Klan.
It's sort of like, you know how, like George Washington and the founding fathers of the United States were all more or less stonemasons?
Yep.
Right? Members of the Masonic Society or whatever. If you go 100 years forward from that, that's sort of replaced with the Klan in America, and just prominent people everywhere just thought it was cool to be super racist.
Yeah. We got a secret little society. Why is it a secret? Are you not super proud of like some of the ideologies that you're professing? Like, come on.
Yeah.
We know what you're up to.
Yeah. So got some Borglum. Basically went and they picked out this location in South Dakota.
But something about that location wasn't quite right, was it?
No. I mean,
it had been
this is part of the
frustration in perpetuity.
Right. So
sorry.
Right. No, go ahead.
No. You go ahead, Fritzy. You've done research. I'm just fucking sitting here 3 beers deep and
America
1 soda water.
Has this great history of signing treaties with native tribes in our country, with native peoples, and then afterwards going, well, there's some stuff now. We didn't think this land was worth anything. We basically thought it was just a big lump of shit, and so we thought we'd force you to go live there, but we'd say it was yours, right? That you got to have it forever. Because we think it's a piece of shit, and you could have it.
I'd like to acknowledge that Canada is not necessarily better in this regard.
No. No.
You know, like
Yeah.
that's not.
It's not a uniquely American thing.
Yeah.
It's a uniquely North American thing.
Yes.
And then I think the song calls it out very, very well. In the lyric that's there's gold in the Black Hills. Mm-hmm. Like at first we were just like, yeah, there's nothing we could possibly want there.
Shitty old mountains. Fuck that.
Yeah,
And then
here, have it.
Oh,
and
is
then
there...
somebody found gold. And they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We would like that back, please.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they were like, wait, you said this was ours. We signed a thing. And the U.S. said, yeah, but, I mean, honestly.
Yeah, we don't care.
We don't really mean it.
Fucking bit, which pretty much encapsulates the entire relationship with the indigenous people and the government. The government, either government, does not give a fuck about treaties of the past or even present treaties signed. If you're in the fucking way, they're going to steamroll you.
Yeah. Yep. And so...
I would also like to acknowledge that... the term savages in there. I think if I could go back and do it again, I wouldn't use it.
Even though like quoting or roughly paraphrasing.
I'm quoting my ancestry essentially, but it's a fucking slur, and it's like, despite the fact that it's like being used in a way to like illuminate. This injustice, it's still, you know, when I listen back to it, I kind of just hear the slur and go like, I don't love it. And there is another point where this was stupid on my behalf and it's a mistake, but it goes, one committed the largest Aboriginal execution or something like that. The word Aboriginal is incorrect. Ab, like the prefix means not. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like Aboriginals do exist, but it does not mean indigenous. And that's something that I learned afterwards, and it's just a fucking mistake, and a mistake out of pure ignorance.
Well, that's okay. Did you just acknowledge it and say, I did it and I learned a thing? Yeah, then that's okay.
I learned a thing.
I didn't know that.
Think about the word abnormal. Yeah. Right? Doesn't mean normal. Yeah. It means the opposite of that. So Aboriginal, and like I don't want to speak out of turn, but like I think that would apply to, there are Aboriginals in Australia, and there are people who weren't from there initially, but whatever. I don't know enough about it to fucking speak on the topic, but Aboriginals exist and Indigenous exist, and they're not exactly the same fucking thing. Jody.
Sure. See, this is a learning. We're learning things today.
Sometimes you learn by making mistakes.
I would venture to say that anyone who has never made a mistake has never learned anything.
I don't know.
You can't. I don't think you can.
I'd walk that back if I were you. That's a huge statement, okay? What about the guys that don't make mistakes?
What about those guys?
They're in jail.
Are they?
Yeah.
For what? Making mistakes. Guys who have never made mistakes are in jail for making mistakes.
Yeah. For the biggest mistake. Knowing too much.
Okay. So let's get to Mount Rushmore. Mm-hmm. This is on native land that has been basically confiscated by the U.S. government for the purposes of making a big sculpture with dynamite.
At first they were like, oh, there's gold here. And then they're like, you know what? We're going to fucking make a monument to your oppressors.
That is like... when that moment happened to me, when I was listening to the song and going, wow, how would I feel to have the giant faces of my oppressors staring down at me in what is my home.
Yeah.
How would I feel about that?
It casts a literal shadow over the reservation there.
Yeah.
Like a literal fucking shadow. It's like, holy fuck.
Like, just the rage I felt just being an outside observer, like, totally not impacted by this. You know what I mean? It was mammoth. Like,
Yeah.
I got real mad and then decided to see what I could do about it. Because, like, there's a lot of injustice in the world, but not of the size of a fucking mountain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
this is committed
such a symbolic thing that you can.
And it's committed with such fucking hubris, right? Like,
oh God,
it's done so arrogantly and so blatantly, and it's like, hey, let's everybody look at me.
yeah.
And well, like it's not widely known, you know. Like there's
Well, that's the end of the song, right? The end of the song is about like exactly who I thought I wanted to be 20 years ago, like get in my RV and go fucking have my family vacation and go, it's not as big as I thought it would be. Right? Like that fucking bullshit point of view, and just the fucking, not even hubris, right? Because I think the vast majority of Americans who get in their RVs and go see Mount Rushmore
are
look
generally
at it as a
underwhelmed.
purely patriotic thing and have no idea about what happened to make that thing exist, and don't have any idea about the pain and that is caused to people today, right now, by that thing. And so, like, that's an education problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, an intentional education problem.
100%.
You know, like it's being left out. You know, history shaped by the victors, right? And
Yeah. 100%.
the victors are not always fucking just. It's also worth noting that the reservation that is there, that lives quite literally in the shadow of it, is on the site of Wounded Knee, which is another thing that's been taught like it was like a fucking glorious battle that was triumphed. It was a pure fucking slaughter.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was like, it was cowardice, it was fucking idiotic, and it was just like a slaughter of people who were not prepared to defend themselves in any way. I'm sure there's going to be people that like fucking fact checked a lot of specificities about this, and again, the research that I did on this, I did fucking like 3 years ago, and I should have done more before we sat down to talk about it.
But I mean, I think
refreshed my memory. But
so something to me, like when I was looking into this, it, like Wikipedia now refers to it as the Wounded Knee Massacre. And not the Battle of Wounded Knee.
Yeah.
Right? Which is, the way I learned it was the Battle of Wounded Knee. That's how my history classes taught it. And it wasn't a battle at all.
No.
Just like, I know, let's set up some fucking artillery pieces around this camp of women and children and fucking just shoot them all to death.
Yeah. But like, you know, can you imagine participating in that and then being like, how are we going to explain what we just did that makes us seem heroic? You know what? Let's say it was a battle. Hard-fought battle. Hard-fought.
Yep.
People would just assume.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like, instead of being like, well, we just killed a bunch of fucking children.
Yeah.
With like significant weaponry that they probably didn't maintain. Yeah, it's fucking very sad and very ridiculous. And then that also plays into how history itself is carved into that very mountainside and is shaped and formed the way the artist, if you will, and that was air quotes, decides to shape it.
Yeah, that's basically the last verse, right? Or is that the bridge? I don't know how protest songs like work. Like
we do like a bunch of fucking nonsense, and then we do a breakdown with quiet singing and a big chorus at the end.
Is that so? As a chorus, that's what you do? You do have a thing called a chorus?
Yeah, that's the structure. Yeah, it's a chorus, but it typically doesn't repeat, and it's just like a big part at the end that goes, maybe someday you win.
Okay, I like it. So what do you call the other parts?
Parts? Part A. Okay. All the other parts are part A, and then there's the breakdown as part B, and then there's a part C, the chorus, of course.
C stands for chorus, right?
Yeah, that's right. Okay. A good fucking knowledge of how the word chorus is spelled. But yeah, the end is also an acknowledgement. Or it's like about face, turn directly around, because if you turn directly around and go about 200 miles, there is the fucking Crazy Horse Monument, which is way bigger and way more impressive. And like, it's not just like his stupid little bust. It's his fucking, like, he's on a fucking horse. Like, it is so much more impressive. It's massive. It's cool as shit.
Yeah.
And it's like maybe someone that's way more worth honoring than the fucking...
Yeah. So let's go back and do a little history, if you can remember. Like, what was the thing that made you want to write about that? What was the spark? What was the thumbtack you stepped on that went...
So the time period had to be super specific, right? Because within Palimpsest, I had set the start date as 1919 arbitrarily, just because the first song that I wrote was All Hands, and the Boston Massacre happened in January of 1919. I believe it was January. And so that was like the start point. I was like, I'm not going any earlier than that. I'm starting there. And I would like to end. Can you shake that up, please? Let me hear you wet mouth a little bit. And the end was obviously the United States rise from the Great Depression and the entry into Second World War, right? To clearly shape and define what America would become. And so I had to find significant events or like things that happened within that time period, because obviously, like the carving of Mount Rushmore, like it's still not fucking done.
Right. Yeah. They never finished what they had intended to start.
Yeah. And, like I was looking like on the fucking internet at things that happened in American history of any significance whatsoever in that time period. And I came across Mount Rushmore and I was like, oh, cool. And I started like looking into it just a tooch and was like, oh, my fucking word. And then I saw an episode of Adam Ruins Everything. I don't know if you've seen that. It's like really short things, and he like ran through every like bullet point really quickly. And I know he's not, I don't agree with everything that motherfucker says, but like watching this was like, he hit the bullet points. And all of the research I'd done to that point was like, yeah, he summed it up pretty good there. And that's sort of what that's like where I was at before I sat down and started writing the lyrics.
Did you have music yet?
Yes.
So you knew that the music that is Little Snakes now, that you were going to write these lyrics to that music.
Yeah. Sort of the way that I do write is I have the premise in mind, I have the idea and the conclusion, and then I write along with the song until I meet the conclusion. It worked particularly well in this case, just based on the movement of the songs. It doesn't always, but
what do you do when it doesn't?
Release it anyway.
Start over?
No, typically, like I'm working on a song right now, for example. Tentatively in my head, it's called Little Apples.
It's about how Johnny Appleseed was really
we're going right back to the we're going right back to the deep well of Americans' inception.
Yeah.
But no. But I've completed it, and I don't like it. And it doesn't like hit the point that I'm trying to make very succinctly. So what I plan to do is move on, do 1 to 2 other songs, and then come back and try and fucking fix it. Fixing it, who knows? I'll probably end up scrapping a lot of it. But that's an example of what I would do if it shouldn't turn out quite as well as Little Snakes does.
So if an option is not to go back to Luke and Tim and say the lyrics I wrote for this don't sort of fit on top of this music. Can you change all the music completely? Thank you.
Yeah, like they always kind of give me that option. Like they're like, hey, like if you need us to change anything, just let us know. I have almost never exercised it. There was one thing on Palimpsest in the fucking Babyface Nelson song, whatever that's called, where I was like, hey, this thing goes like a rep longer than I want it to. It just would work better for me if you just cut a single rep out. And they were like, okay, sounds good.
Did they actually do it?
No.
Of course not.
like when we were fucking sending the masters out, or not sending the masters out, sending it out to get mixed, I had to be like, hey, there's like they were like, hey, there's an instrumental moment in the middle of the verse. And I was like, yeah, cut it out. I told you to cut it out. I told you fucking 2 years ago to cut that out. And yeah. So basically I don't ask them to change anything. I'll just write more lyrics or fit it to the song better.
That's got to be... so this has nothing to do with Little Snakes. But
no, it's got everything to do with Little Snakes.
But the ability, because of the format of the songs as they're written musically, they're not in like verse, chorus format that you would typically write to and have sort of those guardrails, right?
Yeah, very simple
right. And even
structure.
And even to take it a step further with Protest, it's obvious. It's often odd time signatures. It's very progressive. So, like, even if you could set sort of guardrails, they're not going to match up. Like, I've watched Tim set clicks to stuff, and it's like the click is just constantly changing throughout the song. I mean, it's just bananas. So like,
we've grown beyond the point of doing like constant tempo changes. That was the worst, and I think that was more just like we didn't click map it before we went in, so we just played to Mo's tempo, and sometimes it changed because he's a human being and not a machine. So we were like, yeah, we got lots of tempo changes, and I was just like, man, Mo slowed down a bit here.
But I mean,
sorry, you go.
No, but how do you do that? Like, how do you...
Yeah, I mean, the reality is there is structure. It's more loose, and it's not like there's verses here, in Little Snakes. So we bring it back to Little Snakes. There's verses and there's choruses, right? Like the chorus is and it repeats. I think at least twice, but strewn about throughout there is like a bunch of fucking what I would refer to as pure nonsense. Some people might say, I don't know, if you toss a little mayonnaise in it, it's riff salad.
Yeah.
But it's like what makes it progressive, right? Is that there's like tricky bits here and there, but there's verses, there's choruses, there's a breakdown, and then there's like sort of like an outro. But it's just kind of buried within absolute buggery boo. Is that what you would say? Buggery boo. I mean, sorry, let me just translate that for the listener. That means anal scare.
So is that the way you write? Like, do you write, or do you just like, okay, I have like 6 measures here.
Sometimes they lay it out for me. Sometimes they're like, hey, like here's a verse, here's a chorus. But for the most part, it's like it's fairly apparent after like fucking 20 years of doing it.
Yeah.
I can usually find the choruses, and if I don't, when I send them my demos, they go like, what the fuck did you do? And I go, that's how the song goes. It'll sound better when I do the fucking actual thing.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that you say that's how the song goes.
They in one way they say that's how the song goes, and then they send it to me, and I say no, this is how the song goes, and in
then
the
you
end,
fist fight until you come up with the
okay, till we come up with the same song.
Okay, one last question on the process.
Sure.
When you are writing, are you listening to the music as you're writing? Like, do you just like sit and loop a section and just like, okay, it's the beginning, I'm gonna do it, or do you like, I'm gonna take a whole pass through the whole thing, I'm trying to put in the stuff as I hear it in my head as I'm going through the song, take another whole pass, or do you like break it down section by section?
Yeah, that's a really good question, which is fucking hilarious because most of the questions that you ask are so fucking stupid.
Because I'm an idiot. I'm
just
an idiot
Fritzy.
about these things. I have no idea.
So thoughtful and wonderful
do you
and
just put
smart.
in MIDI notes?
Yeah, we do.
I know.
No, sorry, Fritzy, that is a good question. I just found myself being super sincere, so I had to break it by insulting you because I have antisocial personality disorder. But yeah, no, so I go part by part.
Okay.
Like I know roughly where I want to start and where I want to finish with like the ultimate thesis. And usually I finish on my stomach because I'm laying down. But yeah, no, sorry. Golly.
I have a final question before we get back into content of the song.
Yeah, no, I was going to answer you. I swear, I have a real answer. And
I don't believe you. I don't think you do. I don't think you know.
I don't know that, and that is the truth. Like, I go part by part through the song and hope that when I get to that conclusion within my mind and my heart that I'm at the end of the fucking song. Otherwise I got to go back and try again to stretch it out. And it is like, it is kind of just like
the problem, I think, of having a band that writes longer than average songs.
I hate long songs.
Fucking lot of lyrics, man.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, fucking Bible. And we used to have to do that with RF all the time. Like I'd have to, when he was writing for like Fortress, for example, like you'll notice on Fortress, there's a lot of like recycled bits throughout. But like there were a couple instances where I had to be like, hey man, like I'm using a lot of stuff over and over and over again in this song. Could you write me just like a little more, like a block more? And I didn't really understand at that time sort of what you're asking because it's like the thought is complete.
Yeah, I've finished it.
Yeah,
there are
so
no more things in there.
Yeah, so to like just like shoehorn in
Yeah.
like another fucking verse or something is fucked. So
It's hard. And do you find it hard now
I do
yourself?
Yeah.
Like to be like, well, fuck, this is all I had. Why do you guys have 3 more minutes of song?
Yeah.
Fuck.
When you're doing interviews, there's a piece of advice that I've never been able to follow, but is suggested to me quite regularly. And it's like, know where you're going to end. And as soon as it comes out of your mouth, stop talking. No matter what else you have to say, once you've said that end piece, stop speaking. I've never been able to do it because I got a big mouth and I got a lot of fucking stupid things to say. But it happens within songs at times. And Little Snakes is not a particularly good example of it because I feel like the whole thing came out quite well and succinctly within it, the message therein. But you know, there are other things where like the thesis or the like pinnacle moment of it happens far too soon, and then I have to go back and like write more shit, and it's so difficult, or like try and stretch it, and you take some of the moments that you're very, very fond of and they just happen too early, and you have to sort of get rid of them. And maybe that's bad writing, maybe that's just like stupid thinking and me overthinking it, but like I have to, I can't let it be like that.
Have you tried like at the beginning, like putting in your middle name, and then maybe like start each paragraph with like an actual, like although, or something, you know what I mean? To stretch it, you need to get it, like get to that 1,000 words. You know, put your middle name in at the top. Maybe make the title a little longer. You know. Last question about your method, or your, what is it?
Penis?
Like, what do actors do?
They method act, but they're all assholes that do it, and they're just pretending.
Okay. What's melody?
Melody?
Yeah.
How do you describe in words what melody is? It's a pleasing vocal arrangement?
I don't know. If you don't know how to define it, I don't know that you can necessarily create one.
Anyone can create a melody.
How? I've never been able to.
Sure you have. You speak in a certain cadence. It's particularly Irish folk. The way that they speak is melodic. It's always very sing-songy, and the cadence of it is quite nice. And I think everybody does it to some degree.
I don't think so.
Did you hear that melody? I think everybody does it to some degree.
No, that's not melody. That's just cadence.
Yeah, cadence and melody are essentially the same, but melody is hopefully more pleasing. Mind you, I think some cadence can be quite pleasing. Fritzy, what have you done?
What?
What have you done? What's that tattoo on your arm?
It's an arrow.
What's it say?
It says Ultio.
Euclid?
No, it says Ultio.
What's Euclid mean?
Ultio means vengeance in Latin.
I think it means Euclid in English.
Euclid Avenue.
Yeah, that feels like a street, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why that word came to mind.
It was the street I grew up on. No. It says Ultio. It was my dad's favorite Latin word.
Oh, okay.
It means vengeance, but in context, it means like living well is the best revenge.
Now, who was your dad looking for vengeance upon? The poor men who couldn't get erections that he injected penis cream into their penises? Fuck your penis.
He was like the dentist in Little Shop.
Never
Little Shop
seen
of
it.
Horrors.
Heard it's great.
Yeah.
Love Rick Moranis.
Yeah. Okay, so Little Snakes. Because we've gone tangent. or not even tangent. We've gone off. So these are the rails. We're over here. Where in the writing process, like for Palimpsest, did you do this one? Was this like early? Did you write them all in order?
No.
You wrote All Hands first.
I did write All Hands first.
But that's not the first song on the record.
No, it's not even the first song that the boys had written, as far as I know. I could be wrong. So there's 12 songs, if we include Fabula and Suzette, which
you should.
I do include. And I believe that this was the 8th song that I wrote upon.
Where did you record it?
In my basement. Both the pre-production and the actual record.
Who
Not
was in
this
the
basement.
No, the old basement.
The old basement.
The old fart zone.
The old fart zone.
What? Who was in the room with you when you recorded it?
My beautiful friend, Sexy Tony. He did the engineering for that particular song. Most of the songs. All of the songs. Sorry,
That's
it's confusing.
Just you and Sexy Tony in a basement and a microphone?
I'm fairly confident it was just Sexy Tony and I. Malen might have been there. Chris might have been there, depending on the day. Hootie might have been there. But that would be it.
In that basement, did you like stand in a corner?
Yes.
Did you cover that corner in pillows?
No. I just...
How did you treat it? Did you just use the big thingamajigger?
We had these gray panels that are not too dissimilar to what you're seeing behind me, and then I have this setup that we recorded on right here. I'll show you.
We're gonna get. Oh, look at his shorts are so cute. What? Yeah.
Pardon my bathing suit.
No,
It's this thing.
it's not a bathing suit. We all know it's your underpants.
I wish it was. I'd sleep so soundly. So it's this thing. I think it's made by Aston, or this guy I know named Ashton. I just did this.
Did you really? Did you have to hold the microphone?
It's your vacation. No.
Because I notice sometimes you really like to hold the microphone.
Yeah, but I got a bad tendency to cup it. I cup the shit out of a mic.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
And that thing works. Like it.
Oh, it works.
I know
like a
lots of
fucking
people.
dream.
Lots of people buy them and hook them up to their mic stands and stuff for making videos and stuff. I've never used one. I've never really had a ton of problems with reflections in the space where I record. But I guess I'm speaking and not projecting my voice.
I'm super loud when I sing, which is part of the reason why I lose my voice. Like, because I'm not doing it super proper. I'm fucking belting the living shit out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's right. Maybe it's wrong. It's the only way I know how to fucking do things. And I try and back off, and I just don't feel it in my heart. So I got to go complete.
Do you cry every time you finish?
My penis cries when I finish. Just about a single drop or two of cock tears. That's what you meant, though. That's it.
How many takes do you think it takes you?
Oh, fucking 2 billion. I don't know. Like
Lots and lots.
Yeah, it depends who you're. Depends who the engineer is. With Tony, we did less because he was like kind of lackadaisical. He didn't give us much of a fuck. And like back in the day when we would go with Juice, like Juice, who did Keziah, Fortress, and Scurrilous, he's like very particular. He has a very fine ear, and he would just like, I want to say beat me over the head, but like in a positive way. Like he would make me go and go and go until it was like fucking perfect and natural and like was fantastic. And then we started working with Cam, and Cam was like a little less like Cam's still got a great ear and he does a fucking amazing job, and I love the work that he's done. But like he was like a little more lax than Juice, but still pretty particular. Yeah. And then started working with Tony. Was like, man, I love the attitude of that one. The tuning was kind of fucked, but I don't care, man. Yes, sexy Tony. Sexy as hell.
When you know that, so like this, I'm getting all into these deep questions, but I think these are the things people want to know.
Sure.
I think. When you are ready to lay down some takes, right?
Okay.
How do you like? Do you plan that ahead of time? You're like, okay, we're gonna record vocals for this on this day, so come do it, or just like.
You usually have a schedule planned out, right? Like fucking, we're going to record this day, and then you sit down. Usually around noon, and you chill, and you're like, what song you want to do? It's like, I don't want to do a song. It's like, but we got to do a song. What song you want to do? I'm like, I don't want to. And then you pick a song, and it's just like, fucking go.
So you don't like just spend like days beforehand just practicing over and over and over and over and over again?
No.
Rehearsing it to yourself so that when it's time to record it, you're like, I think I know exactly what I want to do.
Like, I write it and then I listen the fuck out of it, right? Like constantly, because I'm trying to like, even in like preliminary stages, I'm trying to figure out what I want to change, how I want to do things, exactly how I want to fucking sing things. It would probably be beneficial to constantly be singing it to like prepare your voice for that, but that's not what I do. I just listen to it so much that I know it inside and out. And when it comes time to do it, I have a lot of ideas. And then some things just kind of fucking get... Some things, like the best part of like recording is when, you know, the engineer or the producer will suggest like, why don't you try something like this? And you get to like fuck around and like... You get someone else's input or suggestion that changes everything, and I love that because I'm super social, I suppose, and writing can be a little isolating for me, where it's like I don't really want help, I don't really want suggestions while I'm creating it, but while I'm like finalizing it, I love suggestions as long as they're like fun, you know. Like I don't want some other. As
long as they're not like, you got to start over.
Yeah, like I don't want some motherfucker coming in and like telling me what to do constantly and like changing a whole lot of fucking shit. But like I do want, you know, someone to be like, yo, I'm hearing this thing in my head, and like it'd be cool if you gave it a try. Like I love that kind of stuff. Like Mike is big on the like h's.
Yeah,
and we've included some of that.
They're good. I like them
throughout, and he's like good at like, I'm not that good at, for some reason, knowing where they should go.
Yeah.
And I put one on this record, and he was like, nah, dude, you gotta fucking move it to this point. And it's in
I think, isn't it in Soliloquy?
It's in the Depression era song. I don't know the names of any of the fucking songs.
It's the one after Soliloquy, right?
No.
I don't have the album in front of me.
I think it's called Ball Hands. It's about this fucking guy who had really wrinkly fingers.
Wait, Ball Hands?
No, you know the one. And if you're mired in the depth of the bounce out, down, to do the Fireside.
The Fireside?
Yeah.
Oh, there is a good one in there.
So, and Mike was like, "This is where it's got to be." But
you know who's good at those?
Chris Hanna.
Yeah.
And that's what
you
you're
should
gonna
call
say.
him sometime and go, Chris, where do I put the h's in this song, please?
Yeah. Or just be like, yeah, Chris, could you send me a couple options, and like just.
huh, like, and in the liner note, it's like other personnel. And it's like Chris Hanna.
It's such a funny thing to do, but it's the best.
Yeah.
Like, it's like old dude's version of blech.
Yeah.
Which blech is kind of old dude's version of anything, because, like, the only people that do that now are, like, at least fucking 30 plus.
Yeah.
But I don't even know what the young dude's version of blech or huh is.
I don't know either, because I don't listen to any music that's created by anybody under the age of 40.
Dude, I'm about that Hot Mulligan record. They're fairly young.
Are
it's
they?
Fucking awesome. I love it so much. But he doesn't do any gimmicky stuff, which is bullshit.
Yeah, I don't have. Do you have anything else to say about Little Snakes specifically? Like anything you remember about the recording sessions or the writing sessions, or like how the guys reacted to the lyrics?
Oh, the guys don't care, dude.
They don't.
They don't care at all what I do.
Really? Like the songs could just be about like bumblebees and rabbits and.
Yeah, they'd assume that I was being deeper than that. They'd just be like, oh, I wonder what he's talking about with these bumblebees and rabbits.
They just want to shred.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. There's not a whole lot more to it. I mean, I'd be definitely willing to answer questions about it. If anyone listening to this wanted to follow up with some questions, we'll do like a fucking mailbag shit. But not anything that I can think of. The very final screamy verse with the about face. Yeah. I have the original lyric set somewhere to it. It's written on this like little post-it that's just like, my puppy and I say hello. Like it's like stylized fucking shit.
Yeah, it's like for like putting your groceries on that like somebody gave you as like a gift.
And yeah, I have it somewhere. It's funny as fuck because it's just like obviously a pretty serious lyric and a pretty like condemning of colonialism, but it's written on this jovial little puppy pad. But I've saved it.
Do you? And this is another great question. If I don't say so myself, here's a great question. As I toot my own horn.
As I do say my own horn.
Toot your own horn or honk your own horn? Do you?
It's squeeze your own honker.
Squeeze my honker.
Pardon me while I squeeze my own honker here.
When you're sitting down to write, what are you using? Pen, pencil, crayon?
Well, when I'm sitting down to pee, I'm usually using my penis. No, I have a book. I usually have a book. The thing is,
that's like a school notepad.
Yeah, no, that is actually a school notepad. This is new stuff, but it's like, yeah, it's a school notepad.
What if a page tears out?
It never tears out.
What? Those things are pretty weak.
Look, here's the original lyrics to Sex Tapes.
In the same notebook that you're working on new stuff?
Yeah. These are like RF, this is C'est la vie. It's called Song 2, parentheses, Suicide.
Whoa.
I wrote them out because I like... Oh, this is called Klingon War Song. They never got used. Can you imagine why?
But wait, so is there music to that? Oh. Did the music to that get used for something else? Is that like you
probably
wrote that and went? Nah.
I've got like a fuck ton of lyrics here about honor and the climb to Stovacor. But Yeah, I probably wrote it for something and then started using it and was like, holy fuck, this is too dumb. And it means nothing. I'm literally writing a Klingon war song.
Yeah. So you wrote different lyrics to that music.
Yeah. This book itself has a ton of stuff in it. But it's also like, it's actually from my high school. So it's like...
How many pages? How have you not run out of pages?
It starts with schools of thought and psychology.
Like I
didn't take that many notes. This doesn't even
I
look
have
like my handwriting.
probably these types of notebooks, like these little journaling
Oh yeah, horny
things.
little books there. I know those.
I have probably 100 of these that have like the first 10 pages have stuff in them. And then I'm like, you know what? I want to go a different way with this
And then you just
idea
scrap
or
it.
project or whatever.
That's
But
incredibly wasteful.
Well, no, they just go in a drawer, and then I buy more,
Oh, okay.
more blank ones, and then
Well,
I start.
I
in
do
a
the
blank
same.
one.
I do the same, but then I just use it. Like this is chapter 2, 3 sources of cultural change, our invention, discovery, and diffusion. And this is from September 17th, 2003.
I can't believe you still have that and you still use it.
Yeah. Let me see where it starts to. What the fuck is this? It just says, hi, is this Fecal Sandwich Studio? Let me
So you
see
have
where it
these
starts
two?
to turn into. Oh, this
I use these a lot. These steno pads. There's a whole
This one
bunch of
has
stuff in
a
here.
picture of
Notes
Spider-Man
about,
and Grimace.
There's a bunch of notes in here about from videos I made about you on YouTube a long time ago.
Oh my!
Yeah.
I love those videos.
But yeah, so I love notebooks.
Me
like,
too.
Obsessively. Do you write in pen or pencil?
Pen, always pen.
But what if you have to make an edit?
I scratch it out.
And then do you eventually rewrite it out again, like without scratch outs and stuff in it? Or do you
No.
just leave it?
I leave it. Let me see. This song is Boat We Fee. It's from the new stuff.
Yeah.
And you can see here it says trying to find a reason, and it's just scratched out. And then underneath it says, I've been trying to find a reason.
Oh.
Actually, what's fucked is that I wrote trying, Trying. And when I rewrote it the second time, I wrote Tryna. I'm trying to.
Trina. Well, maybe that's the key.
Put a little Trana on it.
So, that's one. The fact that you have this notebook and continue to use it and whatever is
pretty- it's
honestly
pretty cute.
that's like pretty impressive.
Is it cute?
I don't think it's cute. I think it's impressive. Like, are you gonna cry when you get to the end of it where you have no more paper?
Well, no, because the very last page is Rody and Fritzy, and it's our teams that we made of Gilmore Girls characters. Okay, and I think my team.
You did win.
Now that I've seen it, I think our teams are pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got Taylor Dozy on your team.
Yeah.
He would die.
Yeah.
But you got Paris on your team. Paris is sick.
Yeah. I feel like Paris could reasonably murder everyone on any team.
Yeah, I'm going to get through the Gilmore Girls any day now.
I still... Like, I really am curious about, like, what you're going to do when that notebook runs out.
I have many others. Probably even here.
To have stuff in them?
Oh, here's the puppy notepad. Woof! It says knife fingers, leaves. That's what I'm most concerned about is Night Fingers and the Leafs. Actually, this is a Dubas shirt. It says Dubas, made by my friend Joey Ferg. Dubas, who is now the fucking president of hockey operation and for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah.
Let me see if I have the original. You know what? I think I know where they are, and I think they're right here. Like, not here. Just give me 2 seconds.
This is amazing. Like, this is an inside look that I can't imagine anybody else getting this level of fucking weird detail.
I was super wrong.
This is a fucking weird podcast episode, too. Like, it's two dudes talking to each other.
I don't know where they
and
are
have
at
gone
all.
completely off the rails.
But I do have this.
He didn't find it, but he did find a beer.
I was going to say, which is a beer that we made with Town Brewery called Little Snakes, but it's called All Hands.
I love it.
That's full, too.
Here's the All Hands beer. This is so good. That's so good.
What's that?
No, I was just going to say, like, I was telling people while you were gone, this is a very interesting episode of this podcast.
Is it?
I think it's getting into a level of detail that not many podcasts would get into. No, you're not. You just can't think of anything better to do.
This is backwards.
Yeah.
To me.
I could read it.
I know, because my camera's flipped.
No, it's backwards to me.
Sorry, you're saying this is getting into a level of detail that not all podcast listeners care about?
That most podcasts... No. To a level of detail that most podcasts don't go into.
Well, this podcast doesn't.
Right. And
it's still fucking muddied with a litany of bullshit, which is what I love the most.
Me too. Are we going to do...
Did you hear that part?
No. Thank God.
It'll show up. You will hear it.
I'll get it on your audio.
I can see it in my audio.
It's in there. You can see it in the waveform.
We're way
Just
off track.
Sitting there,
so
right
sorry.
in Logic.
I'm so sorry, dude.
Why? This is the best.
It's too serious to talk. Like, this is a real problem for me. Like, things that are serious to talk about, like Little Snakes is fucking super serious. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't talk about serious stuff for long periods of time.
Why do you write such serious things?
Because the duality of man.
Wait, there's two men?
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, the duality of character. Like, I am not a serious person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to be serious, but I have serious thoughts and I need to express them somehow. And I'm a fucking artist, dude. And like, that's the only way I can express my serious shit. Other than like sitting on the couch with Cage and be like, another thing, dude. Yeah.
I am the worst about that at home.
Yeah.
I am the absolute worst. I am never serious, but I love nothing more than like giving a history lesson or like trivia, really obscure fucking stupid trivia.
Oh yeah, I love that too.
Because it's in my brain and I need it to be out of my brain.
Yeah.
And the only person in the house that's available to listen to it is my wife. And so she'll be in the middle of a thing and I'll just like slide into the room and be like, guess what? Oh, and explain a thing for 15 minutes. And she looks at me and she nods and she goes, oh, wow. And then I'm like, okay, see ya. And I run away. And then I come back a little while later and I'm like, did you even listen? Like, I don't blame you if you didn't. I just needed that to be out of my head and you were there. I know she could care less what I'm talking about. but
Yeah.
she's so kind to just listen to me as I mouth vomit.
Do you know what you love more than either of those things?
No.
Coming second in a cornhole.
Oh,
Eat shit and go fuck yourself. I'm Rody.
And I'm Fritzy.
And you're listening to Podcast the Hero.